Just a number of things that has stopped me from streaming. My computer, one, not working. Two, a lot of things happening. The end of 2019, I went to go visit family and I went to go visit friends, and everything was pretty chill. And then I came back around mid to late January. I had things go wrong with my house, sprung a leak, and I had a little bit of trickling in water, so I had to get my roof replaced. That was kind of the moment where I started dealing with things as they came, and it was not really a good start for 2020. Um, but I stuck with it, and I had planned with my friends to go visit Europe, really kind of see what Europe was all about. And during that was around March, and as a lot of you know, March was the start of the global pandemic. It is kind of ironic because cut that leg short of the trip because Europe, Europe's boot that has a leg is Italy. Italy is shaped like a boot. Anyways, bad joke, bad joke. So we had to cut off our Italy trip altogether, and that was supposed to be three main stops: Rome, planning to go up to Venice. So we ended up going to Portugal, and Portugal was not in the original itinerary, but we decided to go there because it wasn't hit yet with travel restrictions and everything. It was the Mediterranean, right on the kind of cusp of Europe. You could see the waterfront. It was very beautiful, actually. It was the weather there was really amazing around in March. I could go around in a short sleeve T-shirt, and it was really fun. We just kept walking everywhere. You do a lot of walking in Europe, and so comfortable shoes is definitely a must. I was thinking it was just gonna blow over in like a few days or a week. Boy, was I wrong. Our only options at this point, with everything with the travel restrictions, was that we go up to the UK. The UK didn't have travel restrictions. If you were in the UK and you're American, you were able to go home. And unfortunately, we're not able to get our money refunded for all the travel expenses and pre purchases of tickets. So I took another financial hit. We self quarantined and we didn't have contact with other people. I didn't see anyone outside of our travel group friends for several months, and it started to get to me, and it got real rough. I had some real low points where I realized that I needed that social interaction. I went to go try and stream to try and get some kind of interaction going, but my computer was just not working. And yet again, I took another financial hit. The BIOS, the operating system, all of that. I'm not really computer savvy. We weren't able to find a solution until most recently, which is why it took only up to September. I'm really kind of anxious to get back into live streaming because I don't have a whole lot of interaction with people. So this is something very big to me. It feels like it's the first day of school, just kind of like, what did you do over summer break? Well, what did you do over the corona pandemic? The 2020 still had some more gas in the tank to take the wind out of my sails. April, there was a bad storm that came around, and we actually had a tornado watch. And the tornado and high winds, everything really was ripping through my community. The tornado did hit a tree, and the tree actually got uprooted and it fell on my house. It's like some Wizard of Oz stuff. It was heavy winds, heavy rain, and this is like sideways rain. This is like, that video game Heavy Rain. It was like that. Only I had a back door that was compromised, and water came in, and it just like ruined the whole flooring on the upper level. I was without work because of the pandemic. I had to pay for the roof. That was earlier in the year. I don't have a computer that I can live stream and try and like pick myself up from this rut and do my live streams on. I was dealing with water damage. I was dealing with trying not to get mold, trying not to have insects or other pests come and enter my house because my house was damaged and compromised. I tried my best of what I could do to, cope with it. I started painting to make it, a really consistent workspace. I just had a lot of setbacks. I really had to sit and kind of think of what I wanted to do with my life because the things that I was pursuing were just like crumbling in my hands. Thankfully, this year, I was reflecting on 2019. I had to deal with a fire, which didn't allow me to go to DragonCon. It's expensive to get a tree removed, and the insurance company doesn't reimburse you for tree removal beyond like $500 per tree. It cost me several thousands of dollars, and that was just money gone. And the people couldn't work on my house to fix it until the tree was removed, so it was just straight out of pocket. So I paid like $1,600 to get rid of that tree and get it cut up and removed so it could be so my house could be safe to work on. And on top of that, I had to deal with the roof that was just newly replaced. I've been trying to keep more current on my Instagram. I voiced problems that I had with our global aspect in terms of Black Lives Matter. We need to support our peers because it's not just one group. It reflects and affects all of us. So I had a lot of things piling on mentally. We have a long way to go until we turn around and get any kind of retribution for that. I believe June, I produced a video that was my personal experience with why I feel that the police needs to be defunded. And defunded doesn't mean like taking away and abolishing the police. No, it means it needs restructuring. It needs to have funds allocated to the right means of conducting policing. And it also means that the police need to have a restructuring and re-education of what it means to be a police and the responsibilities that they hold. It gets a lot more real that we are probably in this pandemic for the long haul. I don't know what their problem is about not wearing masks and being socially distant. There are things that are causing us to not get through this. It was around August now into 2020 when I found out that my dad had a stroke. Not being able to be there for my dad, not being able to be there for my mom, my brother, my sisters. Emotionally, I didn't know what to do with myself. Strokes, it's caused by the brain not getting oxygen. Within the safe time frame that my dad was able to get medical attention and the ambulance came, and administered the injection, it basically blows out the blood clot or the blockage that allows blood flow and oxygen to go to the brain. Really scary seeing my dad, like half of his face and his body just was limp. And I saw the pictures and I was just shaken to my core. For me, being able to see him would mean I would have to travel thousands of miles to go and see him, to see that he's okay, to see that he's getting the right medical attention, follow-ups and doctor visits and everything. Plane flights was out of the question because it would just be way too many variables of... At this point in time, a lot of us were starting to test the waters of what it's like to not be on complete lockdown and staying home. So I decided I was going to drive. I didn't stay in a hotel because I I wanted to eliminate variables of who I was going to be coming in contact with. So I didn't stay in a hotel. I just slept in my car. I just slept in my car midway uh, to going to visit my dad, and it was so hot. And I got stung by a few bugs. I'm glad I went through it because it was, one, a way to make sure I got to spend time with my family. I am better for it. I feel like I know myself and I know my limits a lot more. I don't know if you guys have ever played Oregon Trail, but it was basically the Oregon Trail, but with a car. I just surprised my dad, my mom, and my brother a little white lie, and I told them that I was gonna fly, but I only said that because I didn't want them to worry about me driving. It was just like, just a release of emotions to see that my dad was, in better spirits. He was picking himself up from so much paperwork, so many tests and stuff. My dad had a kind of adverse side effect to some of the new medication that they were trying to prescribe him. That was scary too. So it was a lot of, needless to say, it was a lot of roller coaster. I want to be able to experience time with my family where I just enjoy it and like just really just chill. I'm so much more experienced and stronger because of, what I, subjected myself to in order to make sure that they were safe. I am out of work currently. I'm definitely eating into my savings. I'm gonna try and open up an Etsy if people want to have commissions or buy any of my PDFs of the patterns I make. I have a Thresh cosplay that I'm going to be working on. I'm getting my checklist of things that I want to do, but I do want to make sure that I'm compensating and have something of value that I bring to you guys outside of, just the generosity of your own kindness. Ultimately would like to have enough resources, have enough notoriety, have enough influence in the community of YouTube, Instagram, whatever socials are down the road, and be able to interact with people and get into the right channels to have a format where people can come together and have an experience of learning from each other and teaching each other how to use skills to help other people. In some ways, when I was growing up, I was exposed to a lot of things that I had to learn for the first time. I didn't have a lot of friends that had a lot of structure for sports. So I had to get it somehow, some way outside of school, because in school, to be honest, PE was just, it was more physical, not physical education. There was so much that I was lacking, and I was also lacking the sports that I was interested in. I was not very into what the popular kids or the popular sports, baseball, football. I wanted to learn about martial arts. I wanted to learn about gymnastics, and I didn't have a lot of exposure to that until I came across the inner city games. And the inner city games was something very pivotal to me, creating my idea of what I would want to do with my charity. And it's working with kids, working with the youth that don't have a lot of chances to have someone to mentor them, to be the kind of teacher to them, to have someone that would expose them to some things that aren't normally available to them. I grew up very poor, and in public housing and in public schools, you don't have a lot of choice. I would like to go to communities to kind of fix and rehabilitate places that have been kind of affected by poverty, things that have been neglected. Find some ways to make people smile and have pride in their communities. That's something that I would want to do with this charity idea. And it's very near and dear to me, and I really hope I'm able to achieve that dream of being a charity where I donate my time and I donate my experience, my wisdom to another generation that, may not have opportunities like that. I really look up to my teachers that inspired me to look into academics in a fun way. I really loved auto tech. I love cars, and I feel like it's something that a lot of people are hands off about, but I feel is can be very powerful and empowering to help people in their skills and working with their hands. It's not always like I want to be famous. I don't really care about being famous, but if me being famous opens me up the opportunity to conduct and like have a lot of opportunities to do some handshaking with people that can get my dream to reality, then yeah, I would just I want to help people. I don't really care about fame. I don't really care about fortune. I just want to be okay. I want to be okay. I want to make sure that everyone else is okay.